Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here at Chase Buchanan for our webinar for clients that are either perhaps in France or looking to relocate to France. I'm just going to check here that the technology is working okay. Bear with me a second. The colleague has just mentioned you perhaps may not be able to hear me. If you'd be kind enough just to bear with me a second, just to make sure the technology on this side is working okay. Sound is okay. I'm getting a few messages back from attendees to say that the sound is okay. Good stuff. Yes, thanks very much for joining us here for this webinar. I'll run you through a little bit of the format of what we're looking to do and some of the information that we're looking to give to you over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. Hopefully, in the top banner of your webinar call, you've got a Q&A button there. So throughout the next 45 minutes or so, anything that comes to mind, please use that to ask any questions. And as we go through the webinar, when we get towards the end, we'll try and address as many of those as we can. Part of the format for this evening, I've pre-recorded a video for you all, which lasts about 15 minutes, there or thereabouts, which gives you some insights into a little bit about Chase Buchanan, a little bit about me, but more importantly, it gives you some background detail about relocating to France and that particular journey. Before I play that, there's a couple of things that I'll just mention, a little bit more detail about Chase Buchanan for those of you who don't know us. So Chase Buchanan, we are an independent, highly regulated financial advice business. And we are looking to help clients with their financial management, their wealth management, and tax planning solutions when they're relocating, normally from the UK to other countries around the world. Our head office is in Cyprus, and we have full credentials to advise throughout the whole of Europe. We help thousands of clients globally in around 30 or so different countries, but I appreciate this evening we are concentrating on France. It's worth noting very recently we are the only global focused expat business to be accredited with international professional partnership status with the Chartered Insurance Institute. So that's an accolade that we're very proud of, and something which really helps you to understand the quality of what we are doing for our clients. Me personally, I'm one of the France team. So there is myself and a number of other colleagues looking to engage with people like you one-to-one and talk about relocating to France. So as I say, the Q&A is there in the top for you. I'm hopefully going to be able to share my screen and play the video to you. As I say, it will last about 15 minutes. I'll be here the whole time looking at the questions coming through. Once we've played that video, we'll get through as many of those as we can. So without further ado, let me see if I can share my screen. And hopefully you can all still hear me and the video is going to go. If you're living in France or plan to move and wonder about your UK pensions, savings, how French taxes will affect you, you're in the right place. This session will walk you through the key elements of what to do with your finances, the differences between the UK and France, some common pitfalls to avoid, and the steps you can take to protect and grow your money in your new home. We'll also show you how we help expats like you make smart, informed, clever financial decisions and how a second opinion could save you thousands of pounds. If any of this resonates with you, your situation, feel free to book a free, no pressure, no obligation consultation anytime during or after the webinar. If you've made the move to France, congratulations. What a place to be. It's a big step full of excitement, opportunity, lots more sun than in the UK, and let's be honest, a fair few challenges too. One of the biggest, making sure your finances don't just follow you, but work for you in your new life abroad. I'm Alex Simpson. I'm a qualified financial advisor with over 25 years in financial services. I spent more than a decade running my own company in the UK, and now I live my life at Chase Buchanan as a private wealth manager, helping people just like you navigate the complexities of international finance, helping them move overseas and find confidence in their financial future. Moving country changes everything, from how your income is taxed to how your investments perform and to how you plan for retirement or protect your family. Outside of work, I'm married to Michelle. I'm a proud dad to 2 kids, 3 dogs, 4 cats. I'm a big believer in balance. Whether I'm running a marathon, very passionate about running, playing guitar, very passionate about that as well. But I'm passionate about getting your finances in order and helping you move on to the new chapter of your life. Let's get started. Moving abroad is very exciting. New culture, new lifestyle, for many, bit of sunshine. But what's often overlooked is how the differences in the financial landscape can affect you. That's where we come in, not just to help you move, but to help you move smartly. At Chase Buchanan, we work with people just like you to make sure their finances are ready for the move to France. That means reviewing pensions, investments, savings, and helping you reorganise things before you become a French resident, so you avoid costly mistakes later on. We'll help manage your currency exposure, rebalance your investments on a regular basis, rebase those to euros for you, with ongoing support from our investment committee, supporting everything we do. We will help estate planning across the borders and connect you with trusted visa experts where necessary, property professionals, and even healthcare guidance. Because moving countries isn't just about getting there, it's about feeling confident once you do that, and we're here to support you in that. So a lot of our clients, they will move to France, they will have money in UK ISAs, which is familiar to you and everyone else. It's probably not the best place to keep holding that money. If you're tax resident in France, that ISA is not going to have the same tax efficiency that you used to have in the UK. So what we will normally do is rebase that money for you. We'll transition it over to France into something that's more appropriate for your new jurisdiction. So that tax efficiency will be lost in translation. If you work with us to discuss your finances, get a basic plan together to move that money, we can do that tax efficiently. We can put it into a new home, into something that is tax efficient for your new residency in France. One of the other things to be wary of is making sure that your advisor is qualified to give you the advice they're giving. For Chase Buchanan, we have offices globally. I personally specialise in France. I understand the jurisdiction, I understand the tax treatment, and I can help you achieve your goals in that particular jurisdiction. Another thing to be mindful of, you've moved from the UK to France. Your previous wealth was all in sterling. You've moved over to France. You're taking assets with you. We will work with you to rebase that currency into euros, which is invariably going to be more appropriate to where you're living, how you're living your life, and what you're doing. And we have currency exchange partners that will help you do that as we transition your wealth from the UK over to France. You've been used to living in the UK. The tax year runs April to April, as you are probably aware. In France, it runs via the calendar year. So we need to be quite careful in your year, particularly in the year that you move, and we will help you do this, and we'll work with you to do this to make sure that you don't miss certain tax deadlines in France, because they will work differently to the UK. Before we talk more about the details of financial planning, I thought it would be useful for me to share a story with you about a client of ours now on board with us that came to us with an issue. A typical weekday for me, drop the kids off at school, heading back to the office, get a phone call. The voice on the other end, it was calm, it was quite tentative. He said, I've just watched one of your videos.
I need a second opinion. Let's call the gentleman Jeff. He was in the middle of relocating to France, moving everything over. He and his partner had been dreaming about it for years. They'd made the decision to go, trade in dark grey skies for blue skies and sun. But then came all the financial changes you might expect. Different tax rules, new residency requirements, and a pressing need to make the most of pension savings they'd built up over a lifetime back here in the UK. Jeff had already engaged someone, financial advisor, by the time we spoke. Things looked fine on the surface, but something just didn't feel quite right. He had a lot of questions. The advisor recommended splitting his pension into 2 separate products. Couldn't give me a lot of answers. It all sounded a little bit vague. So Jeff didn't want someone to tell him what he wanted to hear. He wanted a genuine second opinion. He needed someone to make it all make sense. Someone to give him confidence that his decisions were correct, they were sound, he was doing the right thing. That was a year ago. Today, Jeff, his finances are in good shape. He feels happy, in control with his finances in the background. Stories like Jeff, unfortunately, commonplace, and that's why we do what we do. If there's one thing experience reminds us, is when it comes down to the future, trust matters. Don't settle for complexity when simplicity will serve you just as well, and never shy away from getting a second opinion. So in the time we have together, it's worth chatting through a couple of the key differences between UK, France, and what to expect if and when you make that move over there. You'll be familiar with tax wrappers like the UK ISA, possibly like the UK SIP. We can help you manage those. So in France, you wouldn't have an ISA. We would do something different with it. But crucially, the thing to realize about the move you're making is that we can do appropriate things when you're living in France. So yes, you wouldn't have a UK ISA, but we can still do something that is going to be incredibly tax efficient for you. Another point that's really worth mentioning, probably where in the UK you have a UK tax-free allowance, £12,570. You may be aware of that. In the UK, you're taxed as an individual. That's your individual allowance. In France, you will be taxed differently. You're taxed as a household. So if it's you and your partner, you are taxed as a household with a separate personal allowance for the two of you jointly. If you are taking children with you, then again, it will be different. So it's important to look at these things as we move forward. So in France, just as here, you will pay income tax. An important consideration, though, you will pay social charges on top of that. I would liken it to almost like UK national insurance, but it can be quite a high burden. But with some of the right planning, we can do things to decrease that, avoid that. But it's important to note that you're not just looking at the income tax regime in France. There are other cost considerations that we will help you with to navigate through. Having said that, though, if you're moving over to France with a reasonable pension fund or certain other investments, there are things we can do to help you navigate that tax landscape. There are some very tax efficient moves that we can make to help you do that, particularly on the pension front, particularly on the investment front. It's about reorganizing your finances to make you as tax efficient as possible in your new home. So at Chase Buchanan, we've helped thousands of clients across 7 continents during the last 10 years. Here are some of the ways we can help you. We can fully review your pensions, savings, investments, give you peace of mind, give you knowledge. Your entire financial portfolio is optimized for your current and also your future goals. Strategically reorganizing before you become a French tax resident, or indeed any country you want to go to. Avoid costly surprises. Ensure smooth financial transition into the French tax system. Currency management, we work with a number of key partners. We can help transition your money from sterling to euros, protect your wealth from exchange rate volatility, align your investments to the country of residence that you're in. Regularly reviewing your investments. We have an investment committee in place in the background supporting everything we do to help you stay on track with expert guidance leading fund managers, proactive adjustment to review and be proactive with your portfolio. Estate planning across jurisdictions, ensure your legacy is protected, distributed as you intended, no matter where you or your assets might be located. Connection to visa experts if you need it, property professionals, healthcare guidance should you need it, help you simplify your move abroad with trusted access to key services and advisors you'll need to settle in confidently into your new home. Whether in France or planning the move, our goal is to give you clarity, confidence, a support network. Work with us going forward. So you've moved over to France. You're working with us. We've designed an investment strategy. That strategy won't necessarily be that dissimilar to what you've been used to in the UK, other than you're working with us. We're reviewing things continually. We've designed a portfolio for you. It'll be to your risk profile so that we are not taking more risk with your money than you are comfortable with. In terms of the actual structure, though, and this is probably more important, it will be rebased to your local currency. So you're in France, we'll invariably rebase as euros for you so that any income you take can be credited directly to your France bank account in the currency for the country of where you're living. We'll help you manage the risk profile. We will undertake a review with you on a regular basis, help you manage currency risk and also the taxation landscape. We'll give you access to global fund managers, leading fund managers that are financially sound, well known, with a good track record. We'll review things regularly. As market shifts, we will propose changes to you as appropriate to make sure that the plan we instigate on day one is still right for you in 3, 5, 7, 10 years' time. So some common questions that we receive at Chase Buchanan. Can my UK advisor still advise me? No. Post-Brexit, they can't. You need someone suitably qualified. We have a license throughout Europe. If our service is right for you, we will take things forward. We'll be sending slides to you after the call, so don't worry about making any notes. But in terms of a checklist, some things to think about are tax planning, investment review, visa assistance, currency partner, healthcare registration, property purchase support, education, pets, driving, more things to think about. At Chase Buchanan, we want to work with you. We want a relationship. We're looking to look after you going forward for the years to come. We'll undertake quarterly reviews, provide on-demand advice. You'll receive a weekly email update from our head of investment advisory, including regulatory reviews, impact guidance if something's changed in the market, in-person meetings wherever that is possible.
Right, thank you for listening. Apologies, I think there was a few issues. I think some of you may have got into the video a little bit late, so we had a few technical gremlins there, but But yeah, thanks for persevering. So we've had a few questions come through. So we'll work through some of those in the time that we've got remaining. So yeah, apparently the Q&A for whatever reason wasn't working particularly well, but there are a few questions there as well. So I'll start working through a few of those. A couple of them that I've had here. Someone has asked about the process coming on board as a client with Chase Buchanan. I'll answer that briefly. It's a collaborative way that we work. Obviously, we are looking to get to know you. We would normally hold an initial meeting with you to understand what you're looking to achieve, how we can help. Part of that would be understanding your financial circumstances and your risk profile, and we would reach some agreement on exactly the sorts of things you need help and advice on. Having got that information, we would take that away. We will look to design a full financial plan for you. We would present that at a follow-up meeting, cover off any queries that you have, so that you are comfortable with it. And then if you want to move forward, we will support you with all of the paperwork and the background administration that we need to do. Obviously, as you would have seen from the video, the relationship doesn't end there. We're looking to work with you for years to come, 3, 5, 7, 10 years beyond. So it's very much the start of a working relationship. We'll work through a few of these on the Q&A and on the chat as well. So someone has asked, if I don't take my pension, can it be kept in the UK until I'm ready? Yeah, potentially it can. But if you have relocated to France, we would normally look to help you with any remaining UK ties and move them to something that's appropriate for your new life in France. If you've got a UK pension fund, for example, we would probably move that to something whereby we can rebase it to euros, manage it and look after it for you, with you, until you are ready to take it. It can be left in the UK, but I'm struggling to understand why we would do that if you were going to be in France long term. Let's pick off a few more on here. Is it possible or advisable to move a UK pension plan to France before maturity? As I've said, yes, we would normally look to do that. We would take you on board as a client, move that pension to something that is going to be appropriate for living in France. It's worth noting it would not be a pension in France. It would be a suitable international solution that we develop with you for you. So let's have a look at a few others on here as we go through the chat. Someone's asked about receiving an inheritance and declaring it. So if you are tax resident in France, then yes, you will need to declare receipt of that particular inheritance. One of the fundamental differences in France taxes the beneficiary, whereas in the UK it's very much the estate that is taxed. There's a particular piece of French paperwork that would need to be filed on receipt of that inheritance and go off accordingly, but we can put the specific details of that in the feedback in terms of specifically how you do that. Let's pick out a few of the questions that have gone into the meeting chat as well. Lots about the sound is back, Alex. So there we go. There's a good one here from someone who says, my wife and I are US expats, just retired and moved to France in January. Actually, and you said there, we realise your target audience are UK citizens. Actually, worth mentioning, one of my key colleagues, a gentleman called Giuseppe Riggi, he is helping people in exactly your situation. He is dealing specifically with US expats that are relocating to France. So yes, we can assist you. It wouldn't be me directly. It's not my area of expertise, but one of my colleagues is working exactly in that market. So yes, we can help you. So that's no problem at all. Our view on transfer of a SIP in drawdown. So this particular potential client, they've already taken the 25% tax-free cash, and they're asking about a particular piece of French legislation with regard to how they then take that pension. So it's worth mentioning, in France, sometimes you're in a situation, if you've got a personal pension fund in France, you are in a situation whereby if you take the whole pension fund as one lump sum, then you can receive a very preferential tax rate. However, our understanding here, I think if you've taken the 25% tax-free already, it would make it difficult to benefit from that preferential rate, because strictly speaking, you're not taking that all in one go, I'm afraid. So I think that would be difficult to achieve that preferential rate. It's worth mentioning, though, coming on from that, as I mentioned in the video, you may find, depending upon your household situation, being France tax resident, if you are married, you are effectively taxed as a couple. So everything that you receive is effectively split down the middle. So if one of you is a higher earner, one of you earns 30,000 euros, one of you earns 10,000 euros, that 40,000 is split down the middle, and France assumes that you earn 20,000 each. So actually, depending upon your own personal situation, France can be a more tax efficient environment to be living in. A couple of others that we have here that I've seen pop up along the side on the meeting chat here. Do we help structure the French Assurance V? So the Assurance V is very, very popular in France for lots of reasons. It is effectively a very tax efficient long-term home for some of your wealth. The question here was simply, do we help structure the French Assurance V? Yes, we will do that. We are independent, so we will use the provider that we feel is right for your circumstances. Someone else has asked, I alluded to a suitable international solution when it came to pensions, and they've asked, are we using Malta? In some instances, yes. I don't want to get too heavy into specific product detail on this call, because we don't have a lot of time to go through all of that. But yes, some of our providers are using a solution out of Malta, but not all of them. So I would stress again that we are looking at your circumstances as a whole, and we are presenting the solution that we think is the right one for you. Okay, a couple of others that are coming through. It's interesting, actually. I don't know why. Few technical gremlins, actually, but the Q&A does seem to be working okay on my side for some of you. A little more of a complex one. Are you able to help clients roll their SIP into a QROPS. And I think that the underlying question behind that is to give you the flexibility to self-manage investments. The simple answer to that is we wouldn't do that probably. So since the last UK budget, the QROP solution, it is really only suitable in very few instances. And if you're tax resident in France, a QROPS is likely to not be the right home for your money. But with the international pensions that we are arranging and working with clients, they will give flexibility around what you can hold within that structure. They are very flexible, so we wouldn't need to use the QROPS model. We can probably achieve your investment goals from something that's more cost effective and more tax efficient with than a QROPS. Someone else has asked about living in the States. I don't know if he was on the call when I mentioned my colleague, but yes, we can certainly help you. We have someone dedicated to you being a US citizen relocating over to France. A few other ones that have come through on here. So someone has asked about paying sorry, there was a blip on my end. You all froze there for some reason. Someone's asked about do I pay tax in France on my UK income? As I say, there's a few elements to this, but generally, yes, you will pay tax in France on UK income if you are tax resident in France. So to give you a really brief overview, if you are tax resident in France, then generally speaking, France will have the first port of call on your worldwide income. So you will cease to be a UK taxpayer and you will satisfy your tax arrangements in France. There's a slight caveat there. So if you maintain UK property, UK rental property, you will still pay the tax for that rental income in the UK for that particular piece of income. So yeah, hopefully that answers that one. Will my UK pensions be taxed in France? Yeah, following on from that, generally speaking, yes, they will. The vast majority of them will. So any pensions from previous employment, the UK state pension, and again, there's a slight caveat here in that there are certain UK government-backed pensions where you will still always pay the tax in the UK. There's a list on HMRC if you are in that particular situation, but generally speaking, yes, pension income will be taxed in France, including the UK state pension. Okay, so a quick look on what's coming on there while I've been through that one. Okay. So someone here is France tax resident. They've asked, is there an initial 1-year period where you can transfer your same to France without any taxes? Not quite sure of all the detail you're asking there, but I'll do my best to give you a little bit of information. So generally speaking, if you're in your first if you've only just relocated to France, it perhaps makes things a little bit easier. If you've been in France for a period of time, then any UK savings you should be paying tax in France on those. As you saw in the video that pre-recorded for you, things like the ISA status is not going to be recognised in France as being tax free. So hopefully that gives a little bit of an idea. But it sounds like your particular question may be a little bit more detailed. Okay, let's see what others we've got on here. Interesting one. Are there any disadvantage for a French resident with a Luxembourg assurance V? The simple answer is no. If what you have is an assurance V, then by its very nature, that is being managed in a way that is France tax compliant. If the provider is a Luxembourg provider, that should be absolutely fine. Do we have a minimum wealth level for potential clients? No, we don't. We are looking to realistically provide our advice and services to those that are in need of it. So we would have a conversation with you, look at your circumstances, and then come up with a financial plan that fits the bill for you. Had one here regarding quite a simple one. Can I keep my UK bank account? Yes, you can. There might be various reasons that you want to do that. Still having perhaps children at university, or friends and family that are paying you back for Christmas presents, birthday presents, whatever it might be. Absolutely fine. There's no regulations against that. Some UK bank providers post Brexit aren't keen on it. So depending upon who your provider is, you may find that you get politely asked to close that account, and they say, look, we're not happy to deal with you any longer. But there's nothing wrong with keeping that UK account. Let's have another little look down the Q&A on here. Do we have an ethical policy regarding investments? It's a really good question. So at Chase Buchanan, as I've mentioned a number of times, we are independent. We are very proud of our investment proposition. And it's worth giving you a little bit of background around that, how we look after your money. So we have an investment committee in place. Heading up that investment committee is a gentleman called Lee Eldridge. He is the owner and founder of Chase Buchanan, and a number of other key Chase Buchanan representatives sit on that committee as well. So, for example, Darren Fletcher, our head of global sales. Alongside them, we work with a couple of independent research functions. So we work with Mercer and we work with Morningstar. And with their feedback, taking on board some of their feedback, we will design an investment strategy for you in line with your attitude to risk. Going back to the ethical policy, lots of fund managers now subscribe to the relevant codes in that particular space. But if you personally are looking for something in particular from your portfolio, we are not tied to a particular fund manager or investment house. So we would develop something personally for you. So it's not a problem to do that. Another one on here. UK premium bonds, income tax if you're taxed resident in France. So effectively, the way that would work is obviously with the premium bonds. If you receive a win, the win is effectively the return, the interest. So unfortunately, yes, you would be taxed accordingly based on that being paid out to you. What else do we have? So we'll look at one or two more because I'm conscious we're getting towards the end of the allotted time. And as I say, after the webinar this evening, we'll make it available to all of you that have attended. Any questions that we've not got around to, we will look to answer those and feedback. And anyone that's attended that wants to engage with us more fully on a more personal level about their own situation, then obviously we will take that forward after this evening's event. So someone has asked about wealth tax in France. So this is a little bit simpler than it used to be. So wealth tax in France is now only on real estate, but it is on worldwide real estate. So if your real estate holdings are valued at 1.3 million euros or more, then you do fall in line for wealth tax. If they're below that, nothing to worry about at all. But bear in mind, if you've got a France property and you've left a property in the UK that take you over that 1.3 million, you would fall in line for that particular wealth tax. Last one on here is regarding healthcare and the situation in France. So there's kind of two tiers to this. If you are of state retirement age, then you may be eligible for what's called an S1 certificate. So if you have one of those, that's great news because effectively it means that you get access to the French healthcare system, but funded by the UK. If you're not of UK state pension age or you don't have an S1, then you will have to join the French healthcare system. Which means paying social charges. So the S1 is very important because if you can get an S1 certificate, it will vastly reduce the social charges that you're paying. If you're not of that age and don't have one, it will mean paying some social charges. So hopefully, thank you everyone for your time and joining us at 6 p.m, 5 p.m, 6 p.m. of an evening to listen to me speak and present to you. I'm grateful for your time. I hope you found it informative. Apologies for any slight technical glitches that we had, but hopefully it didn't impact you too much. I'm going to sign off for this evening, but as I say, you get a copy of the webinar. We will feedback on any unanswered questions, and hopefully I'll be speaking with some of you one-on-one to talk about your finances and life in France. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Bye now.